Greetings, welcome to day 9 of Autoforge's development. Let's go ahead and recap what we worked on. So, I decided to start pulling over the tile logic. That's, rendering little tiles or blocks on the screen and, allowing that to be manipulated. So, pulling that over from Project Dig into this new engine, or kind of revising it to work with a component-based system and more object-oriented. And so that was mostly just copying code over and kind of moving functions into classes. So it's fairly simple as far as what had to be done. As far as the logic for tiles, it's quite extensive. There's a lot of data going on here. Well, just lots of stuff. But I'll go ahead and break that down really quick. Kind of give you an idea of what is going on behind the scenes here. So let's see here. The first thing that we have is a tile. And a tile is just an ID, and the ID we get from somewhere else, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And then it has some other data like the quantity, and that will be used for some blocks where you can mine them repeatedly and get some resource from it. Like you can hit an iron ore block and get maybe 10, 20, 30 iron ores from it. And then priority and variant, that's and also frame, those are all used for rendering the tile and just tracking that data, so it's a little easier to render it. And then the next big thing is really just the tile map itself. And so tile map is composed of lots of tiles, and with that we can do things like checking if the tiles are valid within some space, or setting them, getting them, checking to see if some area of the world is open. And then honestly, like the vast majority of logic goes into rendering the tiles, and that is very complex. And I think what I'll just do is link to the YouTube video where I start going over all of the tile implementation for Project Dig, because it's very extensive. The gist of it though is that we are tracking whenever a tile changes. We then will update the frame on that tile, and that's all happening in here. And then what we do is we actually go through and calculate all of the group data, and we kind of like batch up each tile into a group. So like, or each tile type. So all of the dirt will go into one group, and all of the stone will go into another group. And if they share the same texture, like the stone and dirt are in the same texture, then they will be combined together as well. And so by batching them together, we are able to then render them together in a, what is it called? In a thing. And it's called a tile render group. And so we actually calculate all of the vertices for all of the tiles within a group. And so we're also like batching them up by like chunks inside of the world. So we say, hey, take this, I forget exactly what it is. It might be like 64 by 64 tiles, and get all of the tiles that are, stone and dirt, since they share the same texture, and put that into a group, and then calculate the vertices for those tiles. And so then whenever we need to render that group, we can just like give those calculated vertices to the render, and it's able to just very quickly do that because that data is not changing from frame to frame typically. It would only change whenever you're like breaking a block and it changes the neighboring tiles, or you put down a new block, something along those lines. And I think that's, yeah, so this is adding, let's see here. Trying to look here. This is the draw function. Yeah. So this is where it needs to calculate it, and then at the end we just go through all our tile render groups and draw them. So yeah, lots of magic happening here. The end result though is that we have tiles being rendered on the screen. So this is being set up in, let me go to here. So that's all happening right here. Well, we have, actually, I take that back. It's more of this. So we set up a tile system, and then we say the size of the tile or the world itself. We then initialize the tile system with that, which creates our tile maps. And then we're able to set data on those tile maps, and we end up with something like that. So yeah, that is tiles. And this is just like the surface level of it because I was, again, just copying things over. I have like probably several days of videos where I worked on this, and they're just VOD, so it's a lot of content. But if you're interested in that, you're more than welcome to check it out. And next, we're just going to be kind of cleaning this up, trying to get it to kind of a nicer state. It's very messy still, and I'm not completely happy with the tile system and how that's looking, so I might kind of revisit that. But yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys tomorrow.